Hey guys, if you've watched my channel for a while, you know that I am always looking for the best solution for convenience, stability, and tone. And I think Blackstar has checked all those boxes with this new product that they came out with. It's called the Amped 1. It's a pedalboard amp, has a reverb, has effects loops, it has 8 ohm, 16 ohm outputs, has IRs, you name it, it does all the stuff that a modern working musician needs. There it is right here on the, sitting on this little Marshall cab. So we're gonna try it out today first as a real amplifier. So usually you'd have it on a pedal board, right? But I don't have room on my pedal board, so I have it on top of a little Marshall. And as you can see on the floor, I've got my real pedal board and I've got Helix. The cool thing about the new Amped 1 is you can set it for linear and make any cab kind of turn into like an FR cab. So it sets it flat and you can run like your Helix or Fractal or whatever you want into the cab. So we're gonna mic up the cab first, and then in a minute we'll go in and do some direct sounds because it has direct recording capabilities. If you wanna run, just have your cabinet on stage and then run XLR out to front of house. It just does everything. It just checks all the boxes for the modern guitar player. So let's check it out. All right, guys, we are gonna start out with the USA amp model on the Amped 1. So basically kind of a Fender-ish, like just a clean American amp. And we're gonna turn the reverb on. Turn this up just a little bit. All right, so right now I have my pedal board hooked up to the Amped 1, and we're gonna turn on my OCD. And this is with the KT88 tube simulation, so here we go. Alright, so what you're hearing is the reverb from the amp, my OCD, and I do have a compressor on. And let's just turn on some other effects. So like here's an echo. All right, let's try the 6L6 tube simulation on this. This is the EL34. Six V6. finally the EL84s. Alright guys, now we're going to switch over to the UK modeled amp side, which would be like a British style, like maybe a Marshall sound. This is what it's like with the gain halfway. That's not with any of my pedals on, that's just completely this guitar and the amped one. Okay, so now let's turn my OCD on and see how it does with dry pedals. Six V6. EL34. Six L6. And finally the KT88. Alright guys, now what I want to do is I'm going to plug my Helix into the linear section of the amped one, and you guys can hear what it sounds like. This is through a cab with a Shure 57 on it, and this is what my Helix would sound like, kind of as if it was like an FRF. It's like a flat cabinet response. So let's check it out. Okay, so I'm using a Soldano amp model into the amped one, and the reverb is on in the amped one. But I'm going to turn it off and just kind of use the reverb in this and see how the reverb sounds in this. So if we flip that on. Let's try a different amp model in my Helix. Let's do like a Dumble, something just old school. Hey guys, my first impressions of the Amped one is it really does have an amp-like feel to it, and I favor the American model in it. It just sounded a lot more what I would want out of an amp. Probably if I would have dialed back the gain on the UK model, I could have got more of what my pedals were putting into it. Instead, it was kind of coloring it with more of the gain, which you may like that, you may not. But it does a great job with pedals, amazing. And also as a flat response for your Helix, Axe Effect stuff, your Quad Cortex, whatever you guys have, you could put into that. And really they found an incredible solution because there's no more carrying a heavy amp head around. You could have your amp right on your pedal board. I mean, this has been done before, but I feel like Blackstar has incorporated a lot more stuff into this, and it's really well thought out. Let's go check out the sounds direct into my DAW in my studio. All right, guys, we are in my control room now. I switched over to a Strat, and I've got this all hooked up so that we can have some pedals plugged in, and a delay in the effects loop, pedals going directly into it, and we are going directly into my DAW out of the XLR out. And right now we are on the USA Clean channel, and the response, or tube response, is the KT88 over here. Let's just check out what that sounds like clean. Let's just check out what that sounds like clean. All right, let's go to the 6L6. EL34. 66. And EL84. Let's change the cabinet type. Let me see which one I like the best, and we'll use that one for the whole video. All right, so I don't know what cab type it is, but it sounds good to my ears, so we're going to keep it on. And we're going to switch over to the UK model. And I should talk about the reverb real quick. It is on. It's only halfway up. If we crank it up, it's more of like a room sound, really. I'm going to dial it back. You can actually change the reverbs with the Architect software, which I'm not going to plug in, but you guys can change some. You can change the cabs. You can change the reverbs. You can do all that stuff with the Architect software. So if this is going to be something you guys want to use for totally like recording, all that kind of stuff, it's totally completely editable, different mics. I'm not going to plug the software in, but it's very cool. I've seen some other demos on it. And yeah, so this is the UK version right here of the Amped one. This is the UK model. That's the gain halfway up. Let's crank it about 3/4. Let's crank it all the way up. All right, let's go through the responses again. So we got 6v6. In the UK, they call them valves. A bunch of weirdos over there in the UK. In the States, we just call them tubes. And EL34s. I was just kidding about the UK thing, guys. EL34. L6 and KT88. Okay, I really like the UK version, but I think the USA model is going to do a lot better with pedals. So we're going to turn on, while we're at the UK version, let's turn on the delay at least and see how it sounds. And maybe let's go back to the EL34. Also, I should mention that the reverb, if you hold it in, does this spacey thing. So if you were to step on it, it's kind of like it holds like the note for you and you can play over the top of it. It's kind of cool. It kind of gets really ethereal sounding. So that's a really cool feature, you guys. If you want to do some ethereal stuff, you just hold that thing down with your foot. Let's dial the reverb back again. Let's go back to the USA model, and I want to see how it does with this J-Rocket El Hombre pedal. All right, so let's turn this on, you guys. And let's dial the gain back a little bit. All right, you guys, so there's a million things this thing does. Does them all well. I'm powering my pedals through the Amped one. Blackstar thought that out very well. So if you just want to hook two pedals up to this and have them powered by this, it can do that. It has one input for the effects loop and a special cable that you hook up to your delay pedal or whatever you're using for insert effects. It has 3 IR cabinets that are preset in it, and you can preset your own with the software. It has all the tube response emulations, and for the most part, it feels very tube-like to me. Does it totally feel like tubes? I don't know, but really, I'm not that huge into whether or not it feels like tubes or not, as long as it sounds good. I mean, I am a little, to a certain extent. It can't feel like crap, but it's got to feel good. And this feels good. And it sounds good. And that's the main thing. It sounds good. It's so convenient. You just put this on your pedal board. That's probably what I'm going to use it for, you guys. I'm going to put it on my pedal board. I've got a small 112 cabinet that's very light. I have this on my pedal board with some of my other pedals. I've got a speaker out going to my cabinet, and then I have something, an XLR going to the front of house. So well thought out. Little reverb on it. You can dial it in at the venue. Bass, middle, treble. I mean, everything you could want. And that's very... middle. Some treble in there. You want to dial that back and just have some treble and some bass. You get that more throaty sound. Anyway, you guys, just an all-in-one great product from Blackstar, the Amped One. The Amped One, go check it out if you can. If you get a chance to check this out, this is just one of the best thought-out items, I think, of the year, and so convenient. It does pretty much everything you need it to do as a working musician, and my opinion about it is that there's no reason this isn't going to be like a really big tool in your tool belt as a guitar player, for real. And I got to try it out at Gear Street, and at Gear Street, I only really got to try it out for a second, so I couldn't really tell what it was going to be like. Now that I've had it for about a few days, and I've run it through my cabinets, I've played with all the tube valve responses in it, checked out some of the cabinets, plugged my Helix into it. I've put it through its paces. I just think it's one of the best things that has come out in 2022. So if you get a chance, check it out. It is a little spendy, but it's basically an amp head that does everything that you want it to do. You could have it on your desk in your studio and use it for recording. Really, it's just so integrated into what we do as guitar players that it's hard to say anything bad about it, and that sounds good. So there you go. Anyway, guys, I'm Rich Bischoff. I didn't get paid by Blackstar to say this. They just sent me this. So this is I'm not being paid for this, but I do get to keep this. Thanks for watching, you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments, and we will see you at the next video. Adios.